This show is proudly supported by Habitats at Home, Australia's leading PVC reptile enclosure specialist. Check them out on Instagram and Facebook at Habitats at Home, and be sure to visit habitatsathome.com.au if you're in the market for a new PVC reptile enclosure or other reptile accessories. Massive thanks to Tyson over at Habitats at Home. We'd like to thank our podcast sponsor, Veranabay, reimagining reptile keeping through innovation. They combine quality, design, and function to create high-end 3D printed reptile products. And if you've got a unique setup or problem, they'll craft a custom solution made just for you. Check them out on Instagram at Veranabay. This show is proudly supported by Dan from Red Earth Reptiles. If you want to drool over some of the best looking green tree pythons in the country, check out Dan on Instagram at red_earth_reptiles. G'day and welcome to Under the Heat Lamp with Joe Mack. Today is episode number 24, and I've got a bit of an opportunistic one today. My mate Ryan Gradney is visiting from the US, so I thought I'd pull him up for a chat. How are you, Ryan?
Right on, mate. How are you doing there? Back no, that's a southern accent with Australian. I can't do it. But
That was a bit...
doing well, man. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be back in Australia. I was here last year visiting with you, so
Yeah, 12 months ago.
good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to see you. The weather here today is was it same as it was last year? It's stinking hot and humid as shit.
It's Florida, man.
It's Florida.
Yeah, I'm used to it. This actually feels nice. We've been down in the Gold Coast and then in Sydney, and it's been actually pretty cold. So I'm excited to have a little bit of warm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Find some reptiles.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
we're going to try and wrap this up pretty rapidly so we can get out and hopefully get a scrub python for Ryan, because I haven't been able to show him too many animals. Even last year we had a bit of a crack and didn't see much at all, so hopefully tonight we can tick a few things off.
Yeah, 5-meter scrub.
5-meter
I'm holding
scrub,
to it.
or a 2-meter scrub, or a 1-meter scrub, whatever.
A scrub's a scrub. I'll
A
take
scrub's
it.
a scrub. All right, well, for anyone listening who doesn't know you, which is probably 99% of my
Yeah,
listenership,
Yeah.
potentially, could you give us a bit of a rundown on your history with reptiles and what you do now?
Yeah, so I've had reptiles since I was 3. I'm California raised, I guess, and then I moved to Florida in 2019. When I moved to Florida, I worked with my buddy Kyle Osplund, and we started a YouTube channel called Primitive Predators. I run his collection there. So we've got about 300 crocodilians. We're representing almost every species. We're missing 3. We're missing black caiman, Indian gharial, and mugger. Besides that, we have everything else.
Jesus.
And then we've got
26 species? 23.
I count 23.
23.
Because then there's like the osteos, the dwarf crocs have been split into like 3 species now, but it's really just one. It looks like one animal
Right.
that's just been split into different species.
Right.
So like,
Taxonomy.
yeah. But as far as like individual species and like looks complete, it's like it's 23.
23. Wow.
Or actually 24. Because yeah, I guess the Rio apopores. That's a newly rediscovered living one. So we've
Right.
got 21 out of 24.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And then we've got, right now between me and Kyle, we've got 400 snakes. 99% of which are venomous.
99%.
Of what we have, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I've got a lot of venomous snakes. And then, yeah, primitive predators. And then in the last couple of years, it's expanded to my own business, which is I do a reptile expo company. It's Scales Expo. I've done it 3 years now, 3 shows, and then I'm scaling that up. And then
Scaling that
Yeah.
up. Nice.
I've got my import-export company of exotic animals from around the world. That's Scales Exotics. And that's really flourished in the last year.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I want to talk to you about the expos because at least where I'm from and where we are right now, far north Queensland, expos are something that's certainly lacking. So what's the expo scene like where you're from? And how did you get into running your own?
So the expo scene is huge. Like we've got big companies. I won't mention the names, but whatever. They do 60 expos a year, and there's probably across the U.S. probably like 12 main promoters ish, and between those 12 promoters, there's probably 200 shows that go on in the whole of the U.S.
Yeah, that's absurd.
And then there's the big shows, obviously, like you've got like your Daytona, Tinley, which are pulling probably 10 to 16,000 attendees, I want to say, like somewhere in that ballpark for the weekend. And then how I got into shows. So I ran a reptile club back in 2012 when I turned 18. And then Got something.
There's a
wrong.
bush turkey running.
Bush turkey,
around,
okay.
probably.
So I ran a reptile expo at that expo, or a reptile club. At that club, the main way of fundraising was a yearly reptile expo. So I helped organize that when I was the president of the club.
Right.
But back then there was like 15 like 40-year-olds, and I was like the one
As a
18-year-old that
young
was
guy.
involved.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I was involved, but I wasn't like the one pulling all the strings.
Yeah, you weren't doing it.
I did that like 2 or 3 times, and then 3 years ago, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm going to do this in Florida. I think it's a great opportunity. I saw another promoter that came from California actually and did it in the city I live in. I'm like, no, I live here now.
Yeah, no.
Let me do this too. So I went out, got a personal loan, booked the event, put all my money on the line, and said,
Yeah.
hey, like I called vendors, like we're doing this. You want to come?
Yeah.
And it was instantly a great show. And we've done really well ever since. We pretty much have every year we've doubled our output, which has been incredible.
Are you upping venue size as you go, or are you staying in the same?
Yes and no. So the first year I did, it was a 35,000 square foot venue.
Yeah.
And then the second year was 50,000 square feet. So but that's the biggest one of this venue that I'm going to do. I just put more money into marketing.
Okay.
And then this upcoming year, I've got both venues booked. I've got 2 shows coming up, one in the smaller venue and one in the larger venue.
Very cool.
With the same marketing. So we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah, interesting. So I want to ask you about the Reptile Club.
Yeah.
What's a Reptile Club do?
Yeah. So basically
we have Reptile Clubs, but I'm dumbing it down.
Dumb it down. All right. So I haven't been involved in Reptile Club in full transparency since 2015, probably.
Right.
But growing up, I was really involved in the local Reptile Club. What they did is they had monthly meetings where we all got together. I was this nerdy high school, elementary school, middle school kid during this whole thing.
Yeah.
And you basically just get together, you talk reptiles. Everyone brings their reptiles, and then we had a monthly speaker that would come in and talk about like a species or a breeding or some element in the reptile space.
Yeah.
And they were actually held at our local reptile like sanctuary. Like one of my mentors.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He used to have probably 1,000 snakes in his garage in his house. He actually bought his house from breeding red-tailed boas and Burmese pythons back in like the 80s.
Awesome.
So old school snake guy.
Yeah.
These meetings were at his house. So every time we go over there, you pick his brain, you play with all the animals. I got videos from when I was a freshman in high school pulling out like 12-foot yellow anacondas, just getting messed up by them, just laughing and be like, all right, we're putting these back. So it was just a place for us to get together and kind of nerd out about reptiles. And then the expo, they've been doing it for 20 years, and it was pretty much just to cover the bills for the year for the club. And they didn't put much marketing in it. They didn't really run it like a business. They just kind of slapped it together and made enough money to support them.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, I think do you know if any reptile clubs like that are still sort of running, at least in that area?
Still running.
Operational?
Yeah.
Very cool.
There's a lot of reptile clubs in the U.S. Like I said, I just haven't been involved in them.
Yeah.
But there are a lot that are going on.
Yeah, so I think what I really wanted to get to in this conversation, like we were saying before we started recording, is some of the differences in how the Australian reptile market operates, or reptile hobby, reptile industry, whatever you want to call it, in comparison to the American. And I think at its bare bones, like there's no reptile club here.
No.
There used to be the Cape York Herpetological Society, which is now had a name change, slight restructure type thing, and I believe it's called Natural History of the Tablelands or Cape York or something like that.
Okay.
And it's very much not captive reptiles. I think in the past there has been something like that. There was an arboreal symposium held right here in Cairns in 2013, many, many years ago. But I think down to its bones, there's nothing to support that sort of reptile passion on a like a monthly basis here anyway, which could help be the bones to provide, structure for a full-blown
I think what would really help you guys, because you guys are a small population, just a little bit larger than the state of Florida. But that being said, the state of Florida has a very, very healthy reptile market.
Entirely.
Like people make their whole livelihoods just in Florida from breeding. So like as you guys as a country, it could be bigger than what it is. I think a lot of what you guys are maybe missing is like that the hobbyist side. Like you've got a lot of zookeepers that don't necessarily want to keep privately.
Yeah.
But then also getting the kids involved. Like you said, you don't have the reptile clubs. That was a big thing growing up.
I might be speaking out of turn. There absolutely could be.
Yeah, someone's just in
Actually,
the comments just
I'm wearing
typing away.
a Victorian Herpetological Society shirt right now. I know those guys do a lot down in Victoria as well.
Yeah.
And there's one in the Central Coast and maybe in Sydney as well. So maybe
Oh, so you're lying.
I'm telling
Okay.
big fibs. Yeah.
So sorry, Victoria and
New South Wales.
New South Wales. Yeah,
where all the population is.
They're like, we got 13 members. They might actually. Sorry.
1,300 maybe. Yeah. But there's clearly some big differences in how, I guess just the sheer size of the reptile market here versus the US they're very different, and there's some differences for sure.
One, we have more people, so there's obviously more people to buy. That's a huge one. We've got 300 and something million people compared to your 20.
Absurd.
But also, I will say this: the reptile market in the US, even in the last decade, has dramatically shifted. Like, even if you take the last 2 decades, when I was a kid, you didn't really hear of anyone that was making like a substantial living from reptiles. It wasn't a thing. Like, there's people like making money, but they were kind of living, I don't want to say like on the lower end of comfortable. Like, growing up, my dad was always like, "You're not gonna make enough money with reptiles. Go get a job, support yourself," because he saw everyone else like that did decent. Yeah. But they weren't doing well. Yeah. Now, fast forward 1-2 decades, we see people doing well. Well, like making millions of dollars. Yeah. That was not the case of a short while ago. So, like, Australia, give it 20 years. Maybe there'd be some millionaires over here. Yeah. It'd be different, but...
Totally different, yeah. And it'd be interesting to see, like, I guess the steps that people would need to be able to elevate where they are right now in Australia to sort of put themselves in the position to accelerate
themselves. Your laws are a little different too, so I wonder if the laws are a big like in the US, if someone wants to breed 10,000 ball pythons,
anything,
you can do it.
They can do it. Yeah, and I'm a big proponent for our laws and our most of our keeping laws. I think for the most part, and I always bang on about it on this podcast, about how much or how good of a job mostly our laws do at protecting the lives of the animals. Mm-hmm. So if the lives of the animals are put in jeopardy in order to turn a profit, then I can see why those laws are in place.
Yeah, and definitely in the US, like I'm not going to say when you get into the mass production side of things, you'd be surprised at how much crap you see and how much if someone's breeding 10,000 geckos, there's going to be a percentage of that don't thrive and die. And then you're going to have, if you got 100 people breeding 10,000 geckos, of those 100 people, there's probably a couple that really are only doing it for the money and just keep things horrendous. So there is a benefit to that.
Not everything produced is going to end up in a good home.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people in Australia that are actually probably globally, there are people striving towards better captive care for everything. And I like to think that the quality of everything is being pushed up higher, which could in turn change to, I don't know, higher quality animals, higher quality care, higher quality dollar signs, and end up with people turning reptiles into a business.
One thing I'm seeing too on the US is our prices are going up, and I'm seeing a lot less people focus on the bottom of the barrel animals, like the $200 animals where they have to do 1,000 of them. Rather, I'm seeing people focus on the $2,000 animals where they have to do like 100. Much more easier to maintain, keep well, and less headache to sell.
Absolutely. That's just that's like business class 101.
Yeah.
You've got to do, you sell 100 snakes at $100 each, or 10 snakes at 1,000. Yeah. You're doing 10% of the work for the same amount of money.
Or one snake for 10,000.
Or one snake for 10,000. That works too.
A $10,000 snake is just as easy to care for as a $10 snake. It's the same species. It's just a morphology thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very fascinating. And so the import-export business that you run as well is obviously something that we could never even imagine doing here. And that's a way you could be an Australian and make reptiles a business full-time. If they ever made export legal...
If they ever make export legal, whoever is doing that at the time is going to make millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars. Yeah. It will literally... if they just open it up to one country, to the US, everything that is produced in Australia could be sold like that.
Yeah.
Like the domestic market couldn't even touch the animals because they'd be going out of the country so fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of bits and pieces that would need to be put into place for that to be done properly and I don't know, safely, I guess.
I think it'd be great for the Australian government too. You guys can like Australia can make so much money in taxes
Yeah,
just to allow that to happen.
I was going to say tariff, but we won't. We won't,
Uh,
we won't go into that.
Bro, the tariffs even so up until recently that I'll get into tariffs a little
No,
bit.
no, no, let's not.
There was no tariffs. No tariffs on animals.
No tariffs on animals.
I just paid 40% on my shipment.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ouch. So
Ouch.
there is tariff on
There
animals?
is tariff on animals now. There was never tariffs on animals. This new thing that just happened that put tariffs on all the products coming in did not exclude animals in it. So now there's a tariff on animals that is just a blanket tariff. Like from China, I paid 40%. From South Africa, it's 30%, and then from Europe, it's 15% on animals.
Wow.
It was zero. Like
Wow.
last year, there was a 0% tariff.
Yeah, yeah.
Now there's a tariff.
So that's just increased your outlay dramatically.
Yes.
So how does the import-export business work?
Yeah. So basically, it's an arbitrage. So you want to find do you know what arbitrage is? Okay. So basically, an arbitrage is basically where you find a product in one location or one place for a lower price than you can sell it for somewhere else, and that
Right.
difference is the arbitrage.
Okay.
So basically, there are some animals in the U.S. that are cheap in the U.S. because they're being bred a lot. People don't really care about them,
Yeah.
or they're just a lower ticket item.
Yeah.
They're rarer in like Europe, Africa, not really Africa, Europe and like Indonesia. So they're willing to pay a higher price. So I could, for exports, I buy a bunch of high quality animals from friends I have.
Yeah.
Mark it up, send it out.
Yeah.
I charge my fee. For stuff coming in, it's the exact same thing but reverse. So I scour the web, and I've got a really good friend of mine in Germany.
Yeah, right.
For the European stuff, I basically say, here's my budget of what I want to spend. And then we just acquire animals from the top breeders and make sure we have high quality. And then I bring them into the US and I sell them for a higher price because one, I did the work to find them.
Totally.
Two,
Yeah.
I put all the money up. And then three, I did all the paperwork and everything. And then I'm paying everyone. If something dies in it transit,
But
that's
you,
on me.
You wear that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So there's a benefit to that and a price to make. That's where I kind of work that business.
Right. And it obviously works too because people are selling animals for a price that they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
You're buying them at a price you're comfortable with, and then you're obviously then selling them on to people at a price that they're comfortable with
yeah.
as well. It's not extortionate or anything like that.
No, and one thing I do, so sometimes I'll price my animals slightly higher, but that's because I'll keep, like a lot of other importers will get stuff and they'll flip it right away. On that stuff, if I do that, then it's a normal price or whatever. But a lot of stuff what I like to do, I'll bring it in, I'll quarantine it for a month to 6 months, depending on where it comes from.
Yeah.
I also test. I test for paramyxo, crypto, nido for green pythons. I test for a lot of diseases. So
Yeah.
by the time the end user is buying the animal from me, this animal's gone through my quarantine.
Yeah.
It's established and it's tested.
Epic. So it's a lot of work going.
It's a lot of work.
So you're getting boxes of animals in semi-frequently, and then learning all these new animals, feeding, testing, cleaning,
Yeah.
husbandry, new
Yeah.
species, new animals.
Paying employees to help take care of them,
Damn.
paying the food bill, paying the
Yeah.
electricity bill.
Yeah.
I pay the cage setup. My rooms. I have two rooms in my house decked out in cages for
Yeah,
animals. Like I
absolutely.
could fit probably 1,000 animals in my room
Fuck.
for my house
Jesus.
right now. Yeah. And then I got employees and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's labor intensive.
Absolutely.
And monetarily it's intensive too.
Monetarily intensive as well.
It's worth it. I'll bring in 100 to 300 snakes at a time.
Yeah.
Per shipment.
Yeah. And the stuff that you're bringing in, have you found buyers before you get it? Or are you getting in animals that you know you'll be able to find buyers for?
Both.
Both? Yeah.
Ideally, I have a buyer lined up, and then I'll just buy and sell stuff real quick, and that's the easiest because it's less overhead.
Totally.
But there is stuff that I just like it,
Yeah.
and I pretty much only buy animals that I like. So
Cool.
that way, if I get
That's
stuck with
handy.
them, I'm like, okay, well, I like this. I enjoy it
Yeah,
for 6
yeah.
months. It's cool. It's established. Okay, time to sell it.
Find a buyer.
Yeah. By the time a buyer comes around, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. What sort of animals are you bringing in? I know you obviously have a passion for venomous as well, but I hear you get a few green pythons in there as
Yeah.
well.
So 99% of my business up until recently was venomous snakes.
Yeah.
High-end exotic venomous snakes. I've been the main guy brokering the albino gaboons in the world. I think I've
Very
sold
cool.
every albino gaboon.
Very cool. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So, and then like obviously we've got the leucistic king cobra.
Yeah.
And then I've found a bunch of other rare stuff too. But now I'm getting into non-venomous. So I just brought in a whole heap of. I got 30 green tree pythons. I brought in 15 Bolin pythons last year. various
ridiculous.
non-venomous. I just brought in obviously some king cobras too. I got 8 more kings. in this
Obviously,
last
8
shipment.
more kings.
Yeah. Yeah, mostly venomous, but I am branching off. I really am liking the green tree world though. The green tree and Bolins,
Same.
I'm really. I think I'm gonna hyper focus there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I like next year. I'm putting an order in. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it, but I'm gonna try to get in 150 green tree pythons
Crazy.
between Europe and Indonesia.
Right. So will there'll be several different shipments, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so the animals from Indonesia, are they farm hatch, farm bred, wild
They're
caught?
supposed to be captive born bred. I've been
Oh,
to
that's the law in Indonesia.
that's the
isn't it?
law.
Yeah, it has to be captive
has to be
born and
captive
bred.
born bred. I've
Yeah,
been
right.
to the place I get them from in Indonesia,
Okay,
and it does appear that they're breeding them.
cool.
So that's what it's supposed to be.
That ticks your box.
Yeah,
So
and everything looks good. So like I went in June, and I personally toured the facility of where I buy animals from.
awesome.
And I handpicked out animals on this last shipment that came over, so it was amazing.
Yeah, that's
It was
amazing.
so cool. So
Um,
I'm happy with the quality of what I'm getting, and I of all these animals I just got in, I tested them all for Nido. They all came back negative. Like
Wow,
they all
amazing.
tested clean. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay.
One round of testing.
Yeah, for
So,
this one.
yeah.
I've only had them for like a month,
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
and right now is like the most stressful. So hopefully this is when that virus would
viral load
appear.
would be the most high. Yeah, you would presume. But fucking who knows?
Yeah.
You were mentioning some localities earlier in that shipment. Arfak,
Yeah.
Manokwari.
This one is Arfak, Manokwari. I got Sarong. I got Aru. High White Aru's really nice animals.
Cool.
And then I think that's all on this one that I picked out. The shipment before, I did get some Maruki, some
Yeah.
full stripes.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I got 2 pairs of those. Those are at my buddy Patrick's house right now, Patrick Holmes.
Yeah, okay.
He's gonna breed them for me. Those ones actually, when those came in, 2 of them tested positive for Nido, so they're in his Nido room.
In his Nido room.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
crazy.
that was like a year ago.
Yeah.
So
But that's about as close as you guys are ever going to get to Australian
yes,
green pythons, the
Yeah.
Merauke striped
Mhm.
ones.
and they're gorgeous.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely.
with any luck, Patrick's gonna breed them this year, and then we split the clutch. So
yeah,
like,
go
perfect.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Fucking, if anyone's going to breed green pythons, it's,
Give me him.
it's that guy.
Yeah.
Man, I will just say for any of my green python friends listening, Ryan's been showing me some pictures of some of the animals he's got. It's not even funny. It's just ridiculous. Animals we could only dream of. Animals from some of the biggest names over there. It's crazy. It's not helping my green python problem at the moment. I've got some.
It's addictive.
It's ridiculous. I just hatched out 14. I'm happy.
I mean, that's huge, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I'm stoked.
Now you're gonna sell all those and get different crazy shit.
Yeah, yeah. Not all of them. I'll keep a few.
Yeah,
I'll keep
yeah.
a few for good measure.
That's the best start. If you just keep all 14, raise them up, you got a huge colony of them.
I'll be sick. Yeah,
Huge colony.
it'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, potentially genetically bottlenecked, but I'll have 14 anyway.
Swap out 7 for 7. You got
Yeah.
14 or 7 unrelated pairs.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fascinating.
But yeah, so I do want to focus on those. I want to focus on the blue green trees. And then I also want to breed the Bolins. That's one thing I'm like, okay, I really like the Bolins. I'm gonna get a couple more than what I have right now, and then I think I'll have a nice little group.
Yeah. So what's the plan? How do you envision yourself keeping them? What's the husbandry going to look like in your care for the Bolins?
I'll probably have them all in 6-foot cages.
Yeah.
I might put the female in an 8x3x2. Luckily, with where I'm at in the world in Florida, the humidity is pretty well to where like I don't have to worry about with the green trees or even the Bolins. Like they're shedding properly, they're eating, they're digesting.
Yeah.
The only thing I got to think about is keeping the Bolins a little cooler. And then obviously cycling them a bit.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to the guy I got them from Scott.
Yeah.
He produces them in the U.S. And I'm gonna take some of his tips. But honestly, they haven't seemed too much different than anything else.
Yeah.
Same as the green trees. Like
Yeah.
on it, like I was worried to get into them about a year and a half ago when I did. Since I've had them all, and I've had a decent amount of boat. Like I've had 18 Bolins now in the last year, 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I've had 60 green trees probably.
Yeah.
From import export.
Yeah. So you're getting your hours up. That's for sure.
Yeah, they haven't been too difficult for me.
Yeah.
Compared, but also as I say this, I come from the high end exotic venomous world. So like with my stuff, it's like the same parameters. It's just if they bite you, you die. So now that I'm dealing with stuff,
about
yeah, like now if a green tree bites me, I'm like, all right,
that. Whatever,
cool.
cool.
But
Man.
it's very similar. Like I kept Mangshan vipers, I've kept king cobras, which come from similar part of the world, like green trees.
Yeah.
And then Mangshans are a colder like mountain,
Probably not dissimilar to a
like a
Bolan's husbandry.
Bolan's. Yeah. So like I've kept all the hard venomous. Now that I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
the nons, I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
it fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the high-end venomous species that you're bringing in? Obviously, you mentioned the albino gaboons, the cystic king cobra, Mangshans were up there.
Yeah, I've brought in I think I've sold 60 Mangshans.
They're all European Mangshans?
European.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Mangshans, I just brought in some East African gaboon vipers, which are really rare. They're a Tanzanian locality.
Okay.
So those were hard to come by.
Right.
I brought in 40 of those on the flash shipment.
Yeah.
And then I've got crazy different localities of death adders I brought in. Trying to think of some highlights. Obviously, you got I mean, I can't name Australian stuff because it's gonna be basic to you. I got spider tail vipers.
Cool. Yeah, that's fucking insane. You have them?
I do. Yeah, I've got
ridiculous.
a pair. Yeah,
insane. One of my favorite scientific names.
Yeah, you're a
Pseudocerastes,
Urarachnoides. Yeah, I can't pronounce Urarachnoides.
Yeah.
They're
so
cool.
what is it, like false viper with the spider's tail?
Yeah.
Fucking
yeah.
Very cool.
They're super cool. So that's one you'd like.
Are they European as well?
No, I got those in the US.
In the US.
I got those in the US.
I would like that. What's their husbandry like? Dry, hot.
Yeah, I have a basking spot on them. Like it gets to about 40 Celsius.
40. Yeah, okay, that's warm.
But then the cool side of the cage will get down to about 24.
Yeah.
Cool. So they can kind of thermoregulate.
Yeah.
And I'll notice that they'll sit right underneath it in the hot spot for a while, and then they'll cruise down. I built like a little mountain in their cage.
Man, they're so cool.
They're so cool.
Froth them.
They were the biggest pain in the ass. For 2 years, I had to force feed the female.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the male
birds.
They wouldn't take.
They wouldn't take nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And then finally now the female's eating on her own. The male's been eating on his own for a year.
Yeah.
So like they're gaining size now. They're growing really slow.
Yeah. What are you feeding?
Now they eat rodents. The male is eating hopper mice. The female's still on pinkies.
Right. Oh man,
it was the biggest pain in my ass. And like while I was doing this, I had brought in Chinese king cobras.
Sick. Yeah.
I brought in 22 of those, and those were not established. So like while I'm force feeding these spider tails, I'm sitting there force feeding 20 baby king cobras because I couldn't get enough corn snakes and baby snakes to like feed them. So I'm like, okay, here's some pinky mice. Let's get them established.
Yeah.
They only needed like 3 or 4 times, and they ate.
Okay, so they just sort of switch on and start eating. Okay, cool.
But it takes you 3 hours to force feed 20 kings. You're just sitting there and just forcing them
absolutely,
down.
Yeah. And there's very little room for error in force feeding.
0. I'm allergic to venom too, so there's very, very little room for me.
Very little room for you. Yeah, awesome. Did you ever come across Betis parviocula, the Ethiopian adders?
Yeah. We cannot import them into the US.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the US. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife bans certain species based off of what other governments say.
Right.
So even if like it makes no freaking sense, bro. Bitis parviocula were legally imported from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
In 2014, I want to say. Like it happened a couple times, but I have paperwork.
Yeah.
I have the 3177, the clear documentation, and the Ethiopian CITES for parviocula.
Yeah.
And the U.S. government says Ethiopia said they never legally exported them, so you can't import them. Like this is the paperwork, and these are coming from Europe.
Yeah,
like these were captive bred, and they've been sent.
That's a miss. But sounds like you're pushing shit uphill trying to get that.
Yeah, some guy's suing right now. Another importer brought in 20 of them. They confiscated them all, and they're not. No, they're at a zoo.
Okay.
And a parviocula is $7,000.
Yeah.
So if you can. Yeah. So he's going to take him to court. So we'll see what he does.
Math there. Yeah. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're very cool snakes too.
Very cool. I would love to get them. They used to be able to be imported. So like up until recently, we could import a bunch of stuff, and then like 2 years ago, U.S. Fish and Wildlife was like, nope.
Yeah. Is anyone working like successfully with them in the U.S.? No.
Not that I know.
They're probably too cool. They're a cool species, aren't they? They're montane.
They're a montane species. And then also, our keepers up until recently have been kind of shit. For the most part. Like there's been a lot of people who just keep stuff in their closet and don't really think about it.
Yeah, and when it comes to a highly specialized, very expensive venomous species, you're only your target audience or your market demographic is
Yeah.
Niche, hyper niche.
I had the opportunity to buy some in 2020 that got imported in, and I didn't. I'm kicking myself for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people bought them. There was like 10 pairs that came in or something.
Yeah.
Every single one I know died.
Oh,
Yeah. I'm like, these aren't even in the US anymore. 'Cause people just
ouch.
bought them and then killed them.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it.
All right.
You don't have to tell us. Well, I'd like you to answer it. You don't have to tell us what snake it was, but what's the most expensive snake you've sold? How much was the most expensive snake you've sold?
Do you want to know how much the most expensive snake or animal? Because they're different.
Lay it on me.
Snake, I won't tell you. I'm not going to say anything. 30,000.
Yeah.
Would be the most expensive snake I've personally sold.
That's insane.
Animal, 65,000 US.
Dare I ask what that was?
I won't say it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'll tell you after the podcast.
Yeah,
But
okay,
that
cool.
was the most expensive to date. I do have a deal working right now for, I think it's $130,000 animal.
Nice.
I'll tell you after the podcast.
That's huge. That's big boy moves. That's very cool. We talked a bit earlier as well. I have heard of some of these numbers being thrown around with Australian species, but a lot of it's from back in the day, and it's from very unique, standout animals. So
yeah.
It's cool. It's awesome that people are willing to invest that sort of money into
It's crazy.
Things they're passionate about. It's awesome.
Your red bellies in the US would be $5,000 to $7,000 a piece.
Yeah, and they're like the beginner snake here.
Yeah.
You want to get your lapid license, get a red belly.
Yep.
Sort of thing. Yeah, I think they actually are in Queensland. They're the level 1. You have to keep a red belly for a year before you can get to the level 2.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So yeah, your guys also, like I said, there'd be multiple millionaires produced just off Australian wildlife.
Red belly black snakes.
Yeah, red belly blacks, like just said earlier.
From a red belly.
Your cockatoos here are $7,000 a piece in the States.
We're just looking at a cockatoo right here.
Your bird breeders would go crazy.
Yeah. Fascinating. Well, if anyone from any high up governmental department is listening and willing to open up that door for us to import or export things globally,
yeah,
reach
make
out.
Them tax money.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Let's get some tax revenue coming in.
Yeah, we can work it out. We can have a few distribution points and call it good.
Hey, we've already got someone we can send it to.
100%. I got you.
We could have something good here.
And the cool part about the import-export, aside from the Australia stuff, is I love getting all the animals. So, like, I don't necessarily, like, you might have a species that you want to keep, but you don't want to keep forever.
Yeah.
And it's able to come in, you can enjoy it and be like, okay, now I'm going to put this in someone else's high-end collection. Here you go. You enjoy it now.
Yeah.
Let me go do something else.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess another thing, too, in that sort of vein is that if you can hang on to it for long enough until you find the right home for it as well. You're not just going to flick it off to Joe Blow who's not going to take care of it or whatever. So
yeah, that's
very cool too.
I've been in a good position too where I've had another job and then even now like to where I don't have to sell the animals. Yeah. So if someone is talking to me and they're like, you're an idiot, I'm not selling you this. I can pick and choose and I can be like, oh, it's this price. I'm not lowering it. Take it for this price.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a privilege. That's great.
Yeah, which has been nice. Not everyone's in the position. So I've been trying to make the most out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the sun is setting behind us. If you're watching the video, you'll be able to see that. There's scrub pythons out there begging to be observed from a distance.
Yeah. Taking pictures of.
Anything you wanted to mention? Any shout out to any Australian keepers or anything Australian you want to mention?
Well, I mean,
or American.
Yeah, Joe, I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and I appreciate you showing me around. I mean, for those listening, Joe is an amazing host, so I really appreciate you taking the time last time and this time. Even today, just taking a look around the aquarium, I appreciate it. Honestly, everyone in Australia has been lovely. So yeah,
great.
Looking forward to a good night of observing a 5-meter scrub python.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Ryan, for anyone interested in what you've got going on, where can they find you on social media?
The easiest place is just Instagram. My name, Ryan Gradney. I'm really easy to find. I think I'm holding a koala in my profile picture, so it's
you love it. You love it here.
I love it. I'm trying. You know what I would like to do? I do have slow seasons back home. I would like to come over here for like 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
And just live here for a little bit.
Sweet.
Settle in and then go back when I gotta work.
Yeah, what a dream.
I know. Maybe next year. Maybe next year I'll start it. We'll see.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, well, everyone, thanks so much for listening. As always, if you've enjoyed, I normally read this, so now I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. If you've enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing, and following along. I'm on Instagram at joemac.uthl. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Cheers.